Thank you so much, Godfrey. Well, today we're talking with the Bahamas Chamber of Commerce and the Employers Confederation. They, of course, are a democratic business and employer organization, and they have a really influential voice when it comes to the policy and the way forward in terms of what the country does and the way business operates. And they've been doing some outstanding things. They've got an excellent agenda for 2017, looking to do things in terms of arbitration, a tripartite council, small and medium sized business development, talking about a network across the Caribbean, and of course doing some things with trade information services. We're going to talk to them about some more of that this morning, with direct questions being asked to Mr. Michael Mora, who's the chairman of the Bahamas Chambers of Commerce and Employers Confederation, Miss Christina Darville, who is the director for a mouthful of things, but communications and fundraising is included in that, and Miss Debbie Deal, who of course is the director for energy and the environment. We're so happy to have them with us this morning. Good morning and welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise.
Good morning.
So, Mr. Moore, I want to get started with you. The Chamber was very active in terms of the VAT consultation, employee wages, and you're on the advisory committee of the National Development Plan. What are some of the other major initiatives on the Chamber's agenda at this time that you really want to focus on and highlight for us this morning?
Well, the whole reason we've started this segment with Bahamas at Sunrise is we're trying to give each of the 8 divisions an opportunity to basically explain what the objectives are for this new year.
Okay.
And the last time we sat in front of you, it would have been speaking about ease of doing business, which is a key theme both of this new administration, but also of the private sector and specifically the BCCEC. And Debbie is here today to talk about energy and the environment, because we have been talking for far too long, for far too many years, about BEC and the cost of energy and the impact that unreliable and very expensive energy has had on our economy.
Yeah, certainly it has. And Phil and I were discussing, he took his kids out last night and they went to an entertainment center where a part of the room was closed off and kids couldn't play because the cost of electricity was just too high to run that particular area of the business. So you're losing business in some ways because the cost of energy is just too high. And so certainly that is something that we do want to focus a bit more on. So Ms. Steele, let's talk a bit about that before we get into some other things. June saw a 60% increase in fuel charges for BPL, and their consumer protection plan is currently under review. What are some of the BCCEC's concerns about how that is playing itself out?
With regard to energy costs, you're saying? Or with regard to the plan
60% in the fuel charges increase, that's one thing. And then the other thing is, where do you stand on the plan itself, and are you involved in any way in making contributions to that plan?
Well, yes. I was at the Society of Engineers. They had IRCA discussing the Consumer Protection Plan, and if you read page 16 of it, which you can get on the website, the consumers are not protected at all.
Okay.
I did suggest that I don't mind if they keep that section in, but change the name of consumer protection because it's not protecting us in any form whatsoever.
Wow.
With regard to cost of energy, BPL, the government, through the Chamber of Commerce, has been given many recommendations as to what they could possibly do to reduce energy costs, to give us a reliable supply, to reduce our carbon footprint, which is what we need to do as part of the Paris Agreement that we signed into in 2016, which is extremely important to this country because we're one of the top 5 countries that will disappear if we don't keep the temperature down below 2 degrees Celsius. And it's time that the government actually listens to some of the things that we've proposed. And, you know, basically, everywhere else in the world is going into alternate energy, solar. Jamaica, our sister country, Jamaica 2 years ago was floundering. Business was in the toilet. Tourism was down. The energy company had no respect. And by just introducing, they have solar farms and they have LNG, and they are now on, everything is scaled on 190 countries. They have now gone from mid-hundreds down to way under 100 on everything with regard to economy, tourism, energy costs. Their energy costs were 40 cents a kilowatt. They've gone down to 23.
Wow.
And when the next 2 plants are put in place, which should be in about a year's time, it should be complete, it'll be down to 17, 18 cents a kilowatt. That could be us. This was introduced to us in 2015 and our country did not accept it. We as the Chamber of Commerce are determined to make BPL or BEC, which should be Bahamas Energy Corporation, not Bahamas Electricity, they should be responsible for conservation of energy as well as the supply of energy. And they should actually embrace alternate energy. They should embrace solar. They should embrace LNG. LNG would be great for our country. It's a cleaner fuel, and it also would give us an opportunity to have bunkering where we could actually fuel cruise ships and cargo vessels, as most of them in the world are changing from the fuel they're using now to LNG for the same reason, because of the Paris Agreement.
Yeah, and the thing is that we sign on to these plans, and I remember having this conversation about LNG maybe about 10, almost 12 years ago, with people starting to talk about it and yet nothing being done. And so I guess this is where you guys come in as advocates. This is a forum
where we are not going to be disturbing our seas. We are not going to be drilling. We are not going to be doing anything that's going to be detrimental to our country, to our fishing industry, our tourist industry, anything like that in doing this process. And the proposal was actually given to the government in April or May.
Some transitioning has happened since then.
Yeah.
So we'll continue to see you guys advocate for it.
We are.
And one of the things I know as she speaks, there are people that are watching that are very interested in this conversation. Can you talk to us about new membership and how people are able to get involved, perhaps with the Chamber?
Absolutely. So one of the most important things to discuss this morning with regard to what Debbie is, we at the Chamber are absolutely committed and we're passionate about advocation, advice, and access. So access to us is always available, whether it's through social media, we have a Facebook page, whether it's through contacting any of the directors. We have 16 directors on our group, and we are out there in the private sector marketplace, whether it's on Bahamas on Sunrise, whether it's on the radio stations. But you can contact our office, you can go on our website, you can contact any of the directors or ourselves here. And one of the things that we want everyone to understand, if you are an existing member of the Chamber, we're asking that you come in and spend more time in the efforts that we are trying to accomplish, because just like with that, that is a huge, still hot topic. The Coalition for Responsible Taxation was a segment and arm of the Bahamas Chamber of Commerce, and it is that collaboration with the private, public, and government sector that enabled that to be done in the way it was. This is the same thing with this energy. If we work together, the private sector, the public sector, and the government, which is our intention, we are not going to sit back on this. If we do not handle the energy situation, the ease of doing business is defunct. We must, absolutely must, it is imperative that we sort our energy inefficiency and cost, that we bring it down, that we ourselves as consumers, both individually on a personal level as well as through corporate citizenship, so our private sector, recognize what we can do. So the Light Brigade that Debbie is head of and has formed, coming out of the conclave that just happened in June, they are creating an entire plan where on our website we are intending within the next 30 to 60 days that you can go on and download cheat sheets as a business and or as a personal. You know, one says it's common sense to know to change your fluorescent bulbs to LED. Well, not necessarily.
Not everybody knows
this
that.
is technical information that we who live and breathe that in our businesses may know, because we're continuing to try and reduce our costs in order to help with other things within our business to create capital expenditure. So what I'm asking of existing members and those that have maybe been involved with the Chamber before or maybe have never been involved, to please contact one of the directors. We have many that are from so many of the private sectors in our country. It's not just one sector represented. And go on our website.
And get involved.
Yes, and look at who is on there. Call someone that they know and speak to us, because there's so many things that we are doing that in the end will make a powerful impact to the betterment of this country that affects us all.
Well, we're going to have more of the Bahamas Chamber come on with us throughout the next few weeks, and so we want to encourage people, of course, to go to the website, to give you a call, and then, of course, to stay tuned to Bahamas at Sunrise to learn some more. We'll be right back after this commercial break.